Hello, everybody. Welcome to my second episode on Be Safe or Be Brave. And today's topic, I'm gonna call it Smokeophobia. How many of you heard before about Smokeophobia? Nobody? Oh, okay, sorry. Sure. I expect that because actually I made that up. Well, Smokeophobia, it's a term I invented, and I call it because of people who are afraid of smokers and they treat smokers badly, they isolate them, they do not have them to smoke inside the house, do not have them to smoke inside the building. Well, isn't that discrimination against the smokers? Well, some people can say so, smokers can say so, but non-smokers might say, no, smoking is bad. And the problem is in smoking, not in smokers. Well, if you agree with me that the problem about the smoking is the smoking itself, not the smokers, then you will understand what I want to say next. Well, I just used the term of smokeophobia as an alternative to the term we hear lately called Islamophobia. Well, what's the issue with Islamophobia? Islamophobia is simply, I believe some Muslims came up with that term just to make people, politically correct people get scared of criticizing Islam. So when they came up with that term, smokeophobia, forgive me, Islamophobia, similar to homophobia or whatever kind of phobia people are talking about, then everybody will shut up and never open their mouth and discuss anything about that topic. So the reason I'm making this episode today, and I called it Smokeophobia/Islamophobia, is because lately I'm hearing a lot of, I'm watching lots of YouTube videos about those people who kind of attack anybody who tries to talk against Islam. And they always go crazy about that. I will take, for example, Ben Affleck, for example. I watched him a few days ago in a talk show, and he was talking about how come you say that 1.5 billion Muslims are terrorists? Well, first of all, we did not say that 1.5 million of Muslims are terrorists. We said Islam is a terrorism religion. I'm not talking about people. And again, I'm confirming this point. I have no problem with people. Muslims are people. Like any other people in the world, they can believe whatever they want. The problem is with Islam and what they believe in. In my opinion, and I believe we have a freedom of speech here, I see Islam as a evil religion. I see it as a dangerous religion, and I have my reasons. If you have a problem with my reasons, tell me your reasons. Another person said, okay, Islam is being hijacked. Islam is a peaceful religion, but is being hijacked by violent people like ISIS, for example. Okay, good. Can you tell me your evidence why you say so? What's your evidence that Islam is peaceful, yet it was being hijacked by violent people? Well, I have my reasons to say no. Islam itself is not peaceful as you think. I'm not sure what resources you read and what topics you read or who told you that Islam is peaceful and you just believe that. I myself, I lived for a while in my life in the Middle East, and I know very well that what happened in the Middle East is not peaceful at all. What they teach, how they teach Islam itself is not peaceful at all. Let's take, for example, I'll take a few examples from the time when Muhammad lived. When Muhammad was alive, Muhammad is the Prophet of Islam, the one who founded Islam. And I'll give you a few examples and tell me if that's peaceful or not. My problem here is not, are Muslims nowadays peaceful or not? My problem is Islam itself Muslim or not? Then we can, from that point, we can move further to other topics. I'll take a few things Muhammad himself did. My references, unfortunately, are all in Arabic. So I will say the name of the reference in Arabic first, then I'll try to translate it. Unfortunately, I struggle to find the references in English. And whenever I'll come up with a translation of the name of that reference in English, that might not be exactly, if some translation exists, it might not be exactly the same translation. So you have to accept that. We're having a language barrier here, so you have to deal with it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is one woman an elderly woman, probably like she was like 80 years old or something like that. Her name was Kerfa. Kerfa is like a title. I'm not sure exactly of her how they came up with that name, but her actual name is this Kerfa called Fatima bint Rabia bin Badr. That's the name. Bint means daughter of. Rabia, so her name is Fatima, daughter of Rabia, son of Badr. So what about Kerfa, for example? Kerfa was an elderly lady, as I mentioned earlier. She used to be a poet, and she converted to Islam. Then she decided, you know what, I don't think this is a right religion, I'm leaving it. So Kerfa started to, since she was a poet, started to write poems attacking Muhammad. She did not attack Muhammad by sword, she just attacked him by word. See the big difference? And what was her punishment for doing that? Imagine you have an 80 years old or 90 years old woman. They have her standing up, and they tie one leg to a camel, and then the other leg with a rope to the other camel. Then they made the two camels go, one this way and the other one goes the other way. Imagine what's going to happen to Kerfa after that. Exactly, you know it. She was cut in half, alive. That's what Muhammad himself ordered people to do. Peaceful, isn't it? Yes. Okay, another fun topic. Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, was, by the way, a Jewish person, or he comes from Jewish background. He also kept talking about the Islamophobia, and he said, I will give all the freedom for Muslims to share their opinion on Facebook. Sure, and I'm not against freedom of speech. Actually, I hope that this freedom of speech I'm having now is not going to put me in trouble. The thing is, Mr. Zuckerberg himself, who comes from a Jewish background, does not know what Muhammad specifically did with Jewish people. Muhammad has a lot of violent history with Jewish people. And what we see nowadays in Israel, the Israeli-Palestinian chaos we hear about every day, started because of what Muhammad did back in the days. I'll take quick examples. I'm not going to go through all the details. Oh, sorry, I forgot. The reference for that Kerfa story comes from... I'll say the name in Arabic again. It's called Al-Seerah Al Nabawiyyah, which means the biography of the Prophet, volume number 6. And the name of that chapter in volume number 6 called Ghazawat wa Ba'uth al-Rasul, Ghazwat Zayd ibn Haritha. Ghazawat wa Ba'uth al-Rasul, this means, I'll try to translate it as kind of more like the invasions and the missions of the Prophet. And the incursion of Zayd ibn Haritha. That's how I try to translate it. Unfortunately, forgive me for the poor translation. So in that book, you will see that story. Actually, there's like 10 references. And if you want to have any comments here, before you give me, if you give me comments and say, no, these are not true references. First of all, these references are from Islamic books. It's not Christian books or Jewish books. No, it's from the Islamic books that are being taught by the Al-Azhar University in Cairo, Egypt. Al-Azhar University is the biggest Islamic university all over the world. These books are being taught by Islamic scholars, by Islamic teachers, to Islamic students. I'm not inventing these references, and now nobody from any other religion is making these up. These things are being taught by Muslims. Sorry for repeating the same thing many times. And some people will say, no, these are not true references. No, Ibn Katheer, one of the authors in Al-Bukhari, those Muslim scholars who wrote many of these things, they have these stories documented in their books. So they are not just like an authentic book, no. These are really authentic books and being taught, again, by Muslim scholars. Okay, sorry about this side thing. I'll go back to the main topic I was talking about the Islamophobia again. I mentioned Islam. Mark Zuckerberg is Jewish, and his ancestors were Jewish. They had a long history with Muhammad. So back at the days of Muhammad, there was 3 Jewish tribes. One of them called Banu Quinaqa'a, the second tribe called Banu Nadeer, and the third tribe was called Banu Qurayza. What's the deal with them? These 3 tribes used to live in what's called nowadays in Saudi Arabia, Al-Medina. So what Muhammad did by that time, Muhammad started to gain lots of military power, and he had lots of followers and supporters. So Muhammad used to be peaceful in the beginning of his mission. That's whenever a Muslim teaches you about how peaceful Islam is, they always quote from the first part of Quran, which called the part was written when Muhammad used to live in Mecca. But as Muhammad moved to Al-Medina and he gained military power, all these peaceful surahs or chapters from Quran are no longer peaceful. Now we start to see the violent side, which is almost like half or maybe more than half of the Quran. What happened during that time? Muhammad went to Al-Medina. He started to gain lots of support. In the beginning, in the first part of Quran, he used to invite Christians and Jews to approve him as a prophet. He kept referring to lots of stories from the Old Testament and stories about Jesus, trying to make people believe in him. Then, of course, many Jews started to say, no, you are just a false prophet. We do not believe in you. And this was their crime. Their crime that they just did not believe in Muhammad as a prophet. Well, nowadays, imagine I come to your door, I knock your door. Hello, I'm the new prophet. You have to believe in me. I'm not gonna be surprised if you just like tell me go away, or just like if you have a dog, you would just leave your dog bite me, or at least call the police and let me. Oh, I have a crazy guy on my door. That's a normal behavior. You're just like, oh, you know what? I don't believe in that. That was their crime. So I'll take one example. Sorry, I'm giving lots of introductions. So I'll give one example from one of the 3 tribes called Banu Qurayza. Banu Qurayza were the first tribe, Jewish tribe. Muhammad wanted to make a war with. Because, again, as I mentioned, the history, Jewish people start to say, no, we do not believe in you, a prophet. So, and Muhammad had so many wars before that, so he kind of needs money and needs food and needs many things, and unfortunately he does not have that. And the easiest way at that time in Saudi Arabia was to steal from other tribes. It was like a normal thing, like a daily routine. Okay, what should we do today? Oh, let's attack this tribe and get their food and get some women and get whatever we need from there. That's how they used to go to Walmart at that time. That's Walmart or Costco style at that time. Just go attack your neighboring tribe. So he did not only do that just because of the need of money. Of course, that's important and a valid reason why to do that. He did it also because he wanted to get rid of all these Jews who did not believe in him. So he digged, he and all his followers, they digged trenches surrounding that town or city where Banu Qurayza lived. Then there's lots of back and forth conversations between them, and they kind of came up to the conclusion they knew that, and he made this sign that he will kill them, he will slaughter them. So many women and many children start weeping and crying for these crimes, and they were given 3 choices, or one of their leaders, after lots of discussion back and forth with the messengers Muhammad used to send to them, they came up with a conclusion, you know what, seems like we are dead, no way. So we have 3 choices now, guys. They internally start to discuss that. I'm telling you that story just to tell you how bad the situation was for that Jewish tribe, Banu Qurayza. They were giving 3, what their leaders said, we have either to accept the fact, now he's a prophet, we have to believe in that, or Then they follow the new religion and abandon their Judaism and just follow Islam. And of course, that was rejected by everybody from that tribe. They said, no, we are Jewish and we believe in God, Jehovah, and we are not going to believe in Allah. So that was the rejected solution for them. The second solution was they said, okay, seems like we're going to have to fight him, so let's be light. Let's get rid of the heavy stuff that can make the fight hard on us. And what was that? Let's kill our own women and kill our own children with our own hand, otherwise they were going to be taken as slaves by Muhammad. You can imagine how hard it is on you at a certain point in your life. You have to kill your own wife and your own daughter, because that might be more merciful than having them taken as a slave by somebody else. This is the second choice. The third choice, they said, you know what? Let's go and fight him. Just now. But you know what was their third problem? That was a Sabbath, a Saturday. For Jewish, for like religious, very religious Jews like them, said, no, we cannot break our Sabbath and do that. Long story short, they ended up being all killed. Muhammad on that night, or on that day, he killed from 800, according to Islamic resources again, and you can find that in the Al-Seerah Al Nabawiyyah, Ibn Katheer. Ibn Katheer is one of the Islamic scholars who also wrote lots of Muhammad biography, the biography of the Prophet of Islam, Al-Seerah Al Nabawiyyah, that's the translation. So, according to Ibn Katheer, 800 to 900 Jewish men were killed and being buried in those trenches Muhammad digged. What happened to the women? All of them were taken as slaves. One of the women, her name was Safiya bint Huyay ibn al-Akhtab. She was a daughter of one of the leaders of that tribe. She was a beautiful woman and she was married. He took her, Muhammad himself, took her as his own wife on that day. So in the same morning, Safiya lost her dad, lost her husband, and lost one of her brothers. And the same night, she went to Muhammad on his bed. He had sex with her. And according to Islam, or according to Muslim books, she was really happy and she accepted Islam. Imagine that, I'm talking to women now, imagine you are married, happily married, you have a good father and you have a good brother. All of them were being killed by somebody, and this somebody takes you at the end of the day and tell you, you know what, you are my wife. Then you say, yay, I'm happy. Does this ever happen? A friend of mine lost her dog a few days ago, and she kept crying all over the world. Everywhere she kept crying for losing a dog. How would it be when you lose a husband, a father, and a brother in one day? And you see 900 of your people being slaughtered and buried in trenches. Does this remind you about anything happening now with ISIS? Did Islam have been hijacked by, sorry, forgive me, let me repeat the question again. Was really Islam hijacked by a few people who are evil like ISIS, nowadays ISIS? Well, if Islam is a peaceful religion, it was hijacked by Muhammad himself, the author of it, the founder of Islam. Think about it before you keep saying, oh, it's Islamophobia or something like that. Think one more time, who's evil? Is it the followers of Islam or Islam itself? If we have bad followers, for example, many people will keep telling me, oh, how about the Crusades? How about what the Spanish people did to the natives of of Latin America? All these things. Do they do that because the Bible tells them so to do that, or because Jesus told them to do that? No. In my previous episode, I talked about violence in the Old Testament, so please no need to come to this point again. You can refer to my first episode. The problem now is not in what people do, it's what they believe in tells them to do, or the leader of that beliefs gave an example himself. That's why ISIS is doing that nowadays. By the way, what you see from ISIS today is not new. You have seen there were many ISISes all over the history since Muhammad until today, and 1,000 years from now. It's going to be still the same thing. Because the problem is not in people, the problem is Islam itself. Stop being naive and come up with new Islamophobia or Smokeophobia or whatever kind of phobia. Discuss the root of the problem instead of discussing how it looks like. If you, Mr. Ben Affleck, hear me, I doubt you will do, but if you ever do it, before you go crazy again and defending Islam this way and call it Islamophobia, tell me, what do you know about Islam? Did you read about Islam in Arabic? Did you refer to the references in Arabic? Arabic is an important thing in Islam. It is the only holy language. Unfortunately, anything you read as a translation today, that's not accurate as it is in Arabic, and is not complete as it is in Arabic. All right. Think again. Bye-bye.